Hi, volleyball fans, and welcome back to Volley Talk, the podcast created for volleyball lovers who want to dig deep into what is going on in NCAA and international volleyball. I'm your host, Sarah Pavan. I'm an Olympian, beach volleyball world champion, former Nebraska Cornhusker, and longtime pro, both indoor and on the beach.
And I'm Adam Schultz, former indoor player, international volleyball coach, and the show's resident stat guy.
NCAA preseason is in full swing, and men's world championships have kicked off. So for all you volleyball junkies out there, you have got an endless supply of volleyball to watch these days, depending on your preferences.
It's fantastic. And you should be watching both, I might add. There's been some great volleyball around the horn.
100%. So even though things are a little slow on the world's side, as they are, as pool play kind of gets started and stuff, the NCAA preseason has been very exciting, and there were several great matchups again this past week. We've got some World Championship prediction action coming at you this week. We're going to be revisiting some fun segments from episodes past that we haven't touched on in a while. And we're pretty excited about all of it. So let's get started. So on the NCAA side, there wasn't a ton of movement, but we had some big movement outside the top 10, I would say. So the biggest movers in the top 25 were Penn State dropped to 12 from 5. Izzy Stark going MIA really
Tough stuff.
Really put a damper on that. They've had a rough go. TCU jumped up to 15 from 24.
Well earned. I watched them play a bunch this week.
Yes.
They look good.
They've been doing a really good job. USC is up to 16 from 22.
I tried to watch their game at LMU, and it was nowhere to be found.
LMU or what?
LMU hosted a tournament, and I was trying to watch them, and I couldn't find it anywhere, so I guess they didn't show that one.
LMU's got their feeds on lockdown, apparently. Creighton went down to number 18. They were at 13 the week before. Missouri went down to 23 from 16. That is harsh. That's tough. And UCLA somehow is still in the top 25. I feel like that is done. By the time this episode comes out, we might be proven right that that is done. So they went down to 24 from 19. So those were the big movers. I would say the only positives in that were on the USC and the TCU side. The rest, a little shaky.
Things are evening out. Teams are ending up where they are, let's say, quote unquote, supposed to be based on their performance from the preseason kind of look and place.
I mean, how are you, like preseason rankings, how are you even supposed to know? Theoretically, this is what we're going to say. And then weird stuff happens. We actually get the teams on the court. We see the lineups, and then it's like, woo, way better than we thought, or yikes, overestimated that team. Things are kind of settling. The top 10, we had like micro movements here and there. The only one that really disappeared was Penn State. That's where we're standing on the NCAA side. I put the call out last week for anybody who had some Izzy Stark news for us, because the people want to know. And by the people, I meant me.
We the people, Sarah Pavan.
And one of you answered my call. Okay. Obviously, people talk. People talk to their former coaches, who then pass on information to other people they know, because like Izzy Stark is a big deal in the NCAA world. So people have been talking. The news that reached my eyeballs, do we ever know for certain if things like this are true? No, we don't. But from the grapevine of like information being passed. So I'm not going to get into details. I will say thank you to this person for providing the details. The gist of the situation seems to be that there ended up being some tension between Izzy and her friends / teammates regarding a part of her personal life. It seems like Izzy felt the decision, it was either the team or stick with this situation.
She's no longer with the team.
She's no longer with the team, so she decided to stick with her her personal situation. I mean, you see these kind of things with young people.
It's a tough part in life where you're doing things for the first time, you're having new experiences, you're trying to mesh personal, school,
and
basically
it's always
a professional
tricky
athlete.
too when like your friends, they have your back, or their intention is to have your back, and maybe you don't feel supported. So it seems like a kind of a messy situation that kind of blurred the lines between personal life and friendship and team dynamics. I know that was very vague. I don't want it to be vague, but I'm keeping it vague because...
Well, we don't have any substantiated facts. It's all hearsay. The thing is, it's not necessarily a personal tragedy. It is a situation that she has control over, and we were concerned for her well-being. It seems that she is in a position to make her own decisions, and this is the one she made.
Again, I hope everything works out for her. I hope Penn State can kind of rally from this big hit that they took, because I guarantee you none of the coaching staff, the athletic department, the girls on the team, like nobody saw this coming or intended for the season to kind of take a turn this way, which is super unfortunate given how short your eligibility window is in college.
And the expectation for the program this season.
Yeah, it's so tough. Again, thank you to the person who reached out. Obviously, I want to share more, but we will keep that private.
Speaking of miscommunication or misunderstanding, there were a plethora of comments back and forth this week based off our last episode, which I will say was thoroughly engaging. I love a good discourse. I love a good conversation.
Adam loves a good comment so he can respond.
I was responding to people who were posting things, and then I saw some recurring themes based off of our last podcast, and I want to address them just so that there's no misunderstanding and that our opinions are clear. So first thing, we got a lot of flack for talking about Italy's poor performance in the semis and finals. Now, let me say one thing, and then you can talk. You can be a great player, and you can be a great team, and you can have bad matches. Talking about a poor performance in comparison to what Italy can generally do does not mean we hate Italy. It does not mean we think Serafar is a bad player. It does not mean any of those things. In fact, it's quite the opposite. I think Italy's a great team, the best in the world. I love their streak. We have said on the record many times, Italy's middles are the best in the world. I'm sorry, Brazilian fans, but that's just the way it is. And the other thing I will say, if you are injured and you choose to step on the court, nobody cares. Your performance is your performance. You have chosen to play, and being injured is not an excuse. It's a reality, but if you're critiquing performance, you have to critique it against your best play. It was not up to par.
I don't understand what the big deal is. You were telling me about these comments. I do not understand what the big deal is. The fact that, and we said it also, like the fact that Italy was able to win while not playing their best as a team speaks to how good they are.
Yes.
And people have come at us all summer for loving Italy too much. Okay? And now we say one thing and you guys are like, how dare you? We are Italy fans. The fact that they were able to win while they weren't at their best makes them even more unbelievable.
100%.
Okay? And let me tell you, I had knee surgery last year and I came back. Was I playing at the same level I was pre-surgery because your girl rushed back and was playing in a month after the operation? No.
And nobody cared that you were injured. It's your performance on the court.
Anybody who watched me play last season would be like, wow, she's not playing her best. No kidding. Okay? The wounds on my knee were still bleeding. Okay?
And kudos to Oro and Far for playing injured.
No, but
that's not what I'm
thing.
saying.
Like,
but you still have to,
it is what it is. You're playing. Are you playing your best? No, you're injured. Who cares? That is the product you're putting on the court. It's not your best. It's a fact. Anyway.
And when you can win and not at your best, kudos to you, your team, and your staff.
100%.
One other thing I will say is I got a little flack for the Anna Christina comment.
Oh, good grief.
Now, let me clarify what I meant for those of you who only listened to one part of that
I'm pretty sure
comment.
I said it.
You may have said it.
Shocker.
What we said was Gabi was, for all intents and purposes, the only person scoring in that semifinal against Italy. What we said was if Brazil would have had another player who was
named
scoring...
Anna Christina.
who was scoring alongside of her, given the way that Italy was playing in that current match, it could have tipped the scales. That's all we said. We didn't say that Anna Cristina playing they would beat Italy all the time, or that was the difference maker. It was a situational statement based on observing that Gabi was the only one who was scoring points consistently.
Guys, we were talking about the semifinal match.
Only.
The match. That's what we were covering. And I stand by it, if Anna Cristina had been on the Brazilian side for that match, given how both teams were playing, given how close the match was, and Gabi was the only one scoring at a super high level for Brazil, Brazil would have won that semifinal, period.
So anyway, I had fun with those comments this week, but I thought I would address it for the wider public because I saw the same comment over and over and over a lot of times.
I feel like we are sometimes misunderstood.
Maybe. And again,
or maybe not, and you just wanted to come at us, which we also love a great argument. So keep it coming.
And again, there's two things, right? If you're a fan of a country and a team, you have a biased opinion of your team's ability. You don't want to hear anybody talk negative about your team, which is totally fine. That's a great way to consume sports. But you're not looking at it objectively. You know, it is what it is.
Because Women's World Championships ended last week, we didn't get a chance to do our men's World Champs predictions like we did on the women's side. So we're going to do it now, even though a couple days of the tournament have already elapsed. I'm not sure it changes all that much, but Adam went through, similar to the women, and pulled some predictions. But before that, we have gotten a ton of questions, and so I wanted to address a couple of them in this section. The first one being, after looking at the rosters for Worlds compared to the VNL rosters, which country do you think is taking the biggest step forward in terms of personnel? This person threw out their opinion as Slovenia.
I mean, the one that comes to mind first is France.
They brought the big boys back. Some of the big boys were back for VNL, but we're seeing the crew.
Well, and I think that they will play more. A couple of guys were there, they were in, they were out. France's roster is their winning roster. They showed up to play to win for this tournament. I think they got better. I don't know all of the rosters super familiar, so I'm probably going to miss a few players here, but I also think that Micah Christensen coming back for the USA makes a big difference for them.
I think that's the biggest step. I would say, and Avril came back for USA, but do I think that they tip the scales the same way that the full squad for France does? Not so sure. We also saw Germany brought back their entire squad.
Yeah.
Like Roars was back. We didn't see him. Them. We didn't see Brem, I don't think, in the VNL. Correct me if I'm wrong. We saw some of them, like Grozer came back in week 3, etc. Crick. But we're seeing the full squad for Germany.
Canada made some substitutions. I don't know how much better they are. They brought Jerome their right side.
Sharon Vernon.
Yes, I believe so. He's back. Hogue.
I'm not thinking. No, Canada's not the biggest upgrade.
No, but there are differences there. I don't know how much better they are with Hogue.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not super familiar with Slovenia, but looking at their roster, they are different.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take this listener's word for that.
I'm gonna go France, Slovenia, and probably USA made the biggest upgrades.
I'll say France, Slovenia, Germany. But Germany, we know, got swept by Bulgaria, so...
Yeah, not the best.
Another question we got that I'll address here is, what is your opinion on naturalized players?
So there was a lot of back and forth about players in France and players in Turkey who are not Turkish or not Italian, typically. And I spent some time thinking about this because it's a valid conversation. And I landed... If you don't change federations and you have played for one country your whole career, I have no problem with it. Mm-hmm. People grow up in different places. There are different situations. You move. You are born in one place. People travel so much. I think my biggest issue with naturalized players is if you actively try and change federations so you can be successful.
I would agree with that.
And I have no problem with most of the players that were kind of brought to attention with that. You're in one federation the whole time. You're developed there. You spent your time there. We're a pretty globalized world at this point.
Well,
so that's my personal.
Like, what are you supposed to do? I know a lot of athletes, their parents played pro in a country. they were born in said country. So technically they're a citizen of the country.
You and I are currently in this situation.
Yeah, like we are Canadian citizens. Our daughter was born in the U.S. She is technically American.
So she can play for whichever country she wants if she
And I
chooses
think,
to play volleyball.
I'm not sure of the details, but I feel like Antropova fits into this. I think her dad played pro in Italy and she was born in Italy. Maybe that is not correct. But I think in a situation like that we even saw with like Zaitsev, whose dad played in Italy professionally. If you're born there, like you are a citizen of that country. So I agree with you. I think if you have played for a federation and then you take your 2 years off, pay the fine, whatever, and switch to be in a better situation, that is different. And I think that countries that actively seek out opportunities to do that,
Shady.
a little bit shady.
All right, so let's look at the world's pools. And I'm going to start this by saying, yes, it's nonsense that the Philippines is ranked number 1. It throws everything off. You've got some crazy brackets. It's not the way it should be.
Well, not even the Philippines is number 1, but going back to this discussion from the women's, like they do it so far in advance that it's not even indicative of the present time. Oh, yeah. Anyway, you know how I feel about that.
Yeah, not great. But here we go. I'm going to go through each of the pools and I'm going to rank them, the 2 teams that I think will come out of those pools. 1 and 2.
Okay.
And then we'll go over.
Are you doing this based
the
on the games that we know have happened yet?
So I'm going to put it based on the games that have already happened, but I'm going to highlight how those changed my picks.
Okay.
So coming out of Pool A, even though Iran lost, I still think Iran is going to come out 1 in that pool, and I think Egypt is going to come out 2.
So Iran lost to Egypt, right?
Yeah. So Iran lost to Egypt, but I think they will I think that's going to end up being a tie. I think Egypt will lose at least one other game, and I think Iran is going to run through the other opponents. So
I'm not sure Egypt will lose another game. I think Iran will come out second, personally, but
it's a possibility. Regardless, we're going to end up in the same quarterfinal, but that's what I think is going to happen. Pool B, I have Poland coming out first, Netherlands coming out second. Pool C, I have France coming out first, Argentina coming out second. Argentina with reverse sweep, squeaking it out.
Against Finland?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild.
I'm going to say Cuba first in Pool D and USA second in Pool D. Now, hear me out. USA is upgraded, but my personal opinion is that Cuba took Portugal lightly. They're a swagger team. They play off emotion. They probably shouldn't have lost that game, but I think they are going to come to play against the USA. So I think that's going to be a tie situation.
So you think there's going to be a 3-way tie for first?
I think there's going to be a 3-way tie for first in that pool, and I think Cuba will end up coming out ahead. That's my prediction. Pool E, I have Bulgaria and Slovenia.
Because Bulgaria swept Germany already.
Bulgaria swept Germany. I'm not sure I would have had Germany beating either of those 2 teams anyway.
I thought the Bulgaria-Germany game was going to be better than it was.
But
Bulgaria, that 40-38 set one, yikes. Woo.
Bulgaria has been playing very well.
Yeah.
They're feeling it right now.
Fair.
I have Italy and Belgium coming out of Pool F. That is based off Belgium upgrading Ukraine upsetting Ukraine. I probably would have I would have had Italy and Ukraine coming out of that pool.
Yeah.
Ukraine, I thought, played pretty well in VNL, and
Who's the 4th team in that pool?
I think Algeria is the other team in that pool, so that's going to be a non-factor. Pool G. Now this pool is interesting, and this could go either way. I have Turkiye coming out first. Japan
because they
coming
swept
out
Japan.
Second.
What is happening?
They caught lightning in a bottle. I watched that match.
They couldn't do anything wrong.
Everything went their way, and nothing went Japan's way. You had balls out by a fraction of an inch that Japan hit, and all of Turkiye's went in. They had amazing serving runs.
Their
they could do
so
no wrong. They passed so well. So I think they're going to end up beating Canada, and I think Japan will end up beating Canada. So I think Turkiye is going to go undefeated in that pool, and Japan will come out second.
Dang.
That will come down. The Turkiye-Canada match will be very interesting, so I'm looking forward to watching that.
About Turkiye's consistency. It seems to be a countrywide issue that we talk about here.
Yeah, we'll see. But Canada has the same consistency issues. So I'm going to go with the hot team here. Canada dropped a set already and wasn't super crisp in their last match. So
against Libya.
Yeah, I'm giving Turkiye the edge there. And then Brazil and Czechia coming out in Pool H.
So you think Czech is coming out ahead of China and Serbia in that pool?
I do.
Holy, that's a hot take. Okay.
Well, they already beat Serbia, so that's like a notch in my favor.
Okay, fine. I'm not sure it'll change the final result, though.
Given those pool predictions, here's how the brackets play out. So on one half of the bracket, in the round of 16, I would see Iran versus Czech, Brazil versus Egypt, Cuba versus Slovenia, and Bulgaria versus USA.
What? Okay.
The quarterfinals, that side of the bracket, would then be Iran and Brazil.
But this is
This is my
prediction.
This is my prediction. So I think Iran will beat Czech. I think Brazil will beat Egypt. I think Slovenia will beat Cuba. I think Bulgaria will beat the USA.
Interesting.
Then I have Brazil beating Iran, and I have Slovenia beating Bulgaria. So I think Bulgaria is going to beat Slovenia in pool play, and then I think Slovenia will beat them
They're in the
playoffs.
same pool?
They're in the same pool.
Oh, dear.
And then I think Brazil beats Slovenia to go to the final. So that's one half of the bracket.
Well, I mean, Brazil and Slovenia, like, that is a pretty wide open half. I think
Yeah.
Brazil and Slovenia are for sure the top two teams in that.
For me, the Slovenia-Bulgaria game is a pick'em.
Bulgaria, given how they looked against Germany, they looked real good. Alex Nikolov was like on one, and they
Yes.
just kept feeding him, and they could not stop him. I think ultimately Slovenia will come out on top, but okay, pretty wide open half of the bracket in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed. Now, to the second bracket.
This is the same as the women's situation, it seems like.
I have Poland versus Japan in the round of 16.
In the round of 16?
Well,
oh yeah,
because
because
Japan
screwed up against
screwed
Turkey.
their pool up. So that's wild. Then you have Turkiye versus Netherlands
Oh my gosh.
in the
okay.
other one.
The
France.
teams that were literally scraping by in BNL,
Yeah.
and one of them did not scrape by.
Correct. So then you have France and Belgium and Argentina and Italy. So for the quarters on that side, I have Poland, Netherlands. I think
You
Netherlands will
think
end up
Netherlands is going to be Turkey?
I do. I think.
What?
I think that Turkiye is going
They're gonna blow everything they have in pool
I think
play
they're,
and
I
then
think
call
they're
it
going to
quits.
pucker. In,
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
telling you. I mean, the men's side, anything can happen.
Are you
It's
just
so much
saying
harder to
this
predict.
stuff because on the men's side anything can happen, or are you legit like? Because Turkey looked quite good. You think they're peaking early in this tournament?
I do. I think that in the playoffs, it's not going to go as well. Poland, Netherlands. I think Poland's going to end up winning that. I think France beats Belgium. I think Italy beats Argentina. I think for France, Italy, I'm giving the nod to France.
Well, if Italy doesn't mess up their lineup like they did in the VNL final,
Well.
maybe they've got a better chance.
Yeah, fair. I mean, again, I think that game is going to be fantastic. I think France edges them. And then you have Poland, France on that side.
Oh,
Again, I think it's going to be incredibly close. I think Poland is playing so well right now. I understand that France is going to be better with some of the players they have, but Poland is playing so well as a team. They're just clicking. They look really good as a unit here. In France, their whole team hasn't played together and hasn't competed. In that regard, Poland's going to have the edge here.
I don't know who I would pick between France and Italy. Ugh.
It's tough. These games are going to be epic.
I think that half of the bracket is literally roll the dice.
It's a gauntlet.
You've got 3 of the top 4 teams in the world in
it's
that half.
ridiculous.
For me, I have a hard time figuring out who's going to win between Italy and France.
Fair.
I think that, if it does actually happen, is the match that you need to tune into, because I'm pretty sure that Poland is going to advance on that side.
Yeah, I think that's based on everything we've seen from the summer. I think that's a fair assumption. I think the France-Italy game is going to be epic. And then I think Poland will probably beat Brazil in the final.
I mean, which Leon is going to show up? That is the question. I think their middles were looking good. Is their right side going to show up? Fornal is usually pretty consistent. But which Leon is going to show up? VNL, they were outstanding. That side of the bracket is the one I'm going to be dialed into.
Yeah,
I don't know.
absolutely.
Things are so straightforward. Like, not so straightforward, but like easier to predict on the women's side. It is so hard to predict on the men's side because, like we've talked about countless times, any athlete can really go off.
I'm choosing Poland coming out of that side of the bracket. Would I be surprised if Poland, France, or Italy won the tournament? No, of course not. If you're looking at me right now and saying, pick a team, I liked the way Poland played. I liked the attitude of their coach. I like what they have going on right now. Those factors for me gives me the edge for Poland.
Gerbic is the star for me.
He's outstanding.
Hold a gun to my head for sure. Okay, I'll pick Poland, but I'm obsessed with their coach more than anything.
I'm curious to see France come back with their full roster. Are they gelling? Are they in sync? Is everything happening the way it should be? I mean, they're the Olympic champions, like clearly capable of winning. We just haven't seen that roster together yet, gelling and clicking on all cylinders. And I think for me, that's why I'm giving Poland the slight edge.
Okay, did you take a look at what things could have looked like had they done the rankings closer to the tournament, or if Philippines had taken the 8 seed instead of the 1 seed?
I did look at that, and honestly, it's not that much different.
Really?
If you did the rankings as of today and you just put Philippines at 8, you'd have Poland, France, USA, Philippines in one bracket. And you'd have Italy, Brazil, Slovenia, Japan.
You think
in
Philippines would have made it out of
No,
their
I'm not
pool?
saying that, but I'm saying that the top of that pool.
Oh, okay.
I didn't go through and do like 1 to 24 with all of the different brackets, but the top teams, Poland, France, USA, Philippines, would be kind of in that.
Yeah, but I still feel like you need to have 2 top teams in each side. I think that is way more fair.
Well, 100%.
Or indicative of how the summer has gone than what it currently is.
Well, definitely. You have Italy and Brazil on one side. You have Poland and France on the other.
Which,
and then,
fair. Fine.
Yeah. And in fairness, Japan should have been in the other bracket. They're another top team, but they blew a match, for this one. So, again, you're essentially, for all intents and purposes, moving Italy from one side of the bracket to the other, which makes it more fair. I mean, we're just getting underway with Worlds here. And like we said, I mean, there have been a few upsets here, but the good matches are going to come this week as we see some more high-level pool play as we move into playoffs. That's kind of the preview. I think next week we'll have way more to talk about. There are going to be some gnarly 5-setters. There's going to be some upsets. There's going to be some things that we weren't expecting. So we'll dive into that more. But here, these are the early predictions and my bracket choices, and we'll see what the week brings on the men's side. Let's move to the NCAA. I got a couple things I want to do here. We had 4 pretty big matches this week that came up. I want your thoughts, not necessarily on how the matches played out, but were you surprised by the results, what it does for the rankings? Then we've got a little game. I want to play Pavan's percentages. I think I got some bangers for this week, and we can talk about a few surprises in a positive light for NCAA. We had 4, I thought, really good matches this week with ranked teams. So we had Texas, Louisville. That's a 2 and a 4, with Texas winning 3-2. Give me your overall thoughts of that.
Okay, well, we saw that Texas beat Stanford in a reverse sweep last Sunday. Then they turned around and beat Louisville in a reverse sweep 2 to 3 days later, whatever it was. Do I love that they are having to come back from 0-2 down? No, but I think the fact that they're able to turn the tables on these highly ranked teams and find a way to win this early in the season bodes well for them long term. It's not great to get down, but the fact that they're finding ways to win and they're rallying. Troy Stafford is stepping up in those moments we saw. Kari Spears is getting great experience. She's putting up some really good numbers. I think you need to be tested early to, really capitalize on those moments later in the season. And so I think this is looking good for Texas. Honestly, Louisville, I thought that I would like them more than I am. I saw them play a couple times this week. I'm not loving their point scores. They don't have anybody who's scoring at a high level consistently. They're trying to force the ball to Cressy whenever they can.
Which is a good strategy.
And they came out and said, we want to get her the most attempts ever. Okay, great, but why don't we go for a super high hitting percentage or something?
But it's great to run the middle that much, and as you all know, we are huge advocates of that. But you still need somebody to put the ball away outside of that. You're never going to be able to set your middle more than everybody else. So whether that's Chicoine. And, I don't think that she's a go-to hitter. I think she's good. I think she can score you some points. But that one player, that person that you can set to score, I just haven't seen that from them yet. And I'm not sure where that's going to come from.
I mean, their right side is a true freshman. They have Chicoine, who isn't
skilled but
doing-
undersized.
She's not scoring at a super high level. Peyton Peterson, I'm sorry, is not it.
Chicoine and Peterson on the outside, that's just not the combo with a
not a
freshman
great
right
combo.
side. There's a lot of question marks on the outsides for Louisville. They're scrappy still. They're playing good defense. They still have those Louisville hallmarks that we expect to see from them. Honestly, I think they're ranked too high. I don't think their schedule has been super hard yet.
Coming into the season, though, I was like, yeah, they totally deserve that ranking for sure. But then seeing them play, I'm like,
Yeah, I think they're going to drop. I agree with you. I think those were signature wins for Texas. I was really impressed. They have a young roster, and you saw some errors down the stretch, but they found a way to level out. I liked Spears on the right. I thought Stafford did an excellent job over these last 3 matches because they just beat Arizona State 3-0.
And I just want to throw out, for all of you who said that we were hating on Texas, we have got Tori Stafford, Kari Spears, and Aiden Ames on our fantasy team. So tell me that's hating on Texas, okay?
Fair. Again, I think for me, a few of the questions that we said we had for Texas, I think they've answered. Their first year stepped up.
We literally saw them play their first
Stafford,
2 matches.
I'm still not a Swindle fan. I think
Well,
that's their area of weakness. I get that she's good blocker. She's big. I just don't love the offense that she runs. I don't think she connects with the middle super well, and I think her sets outside are a little inconsistent, but really good week for Texas. Pitt going 3-0 against Kentucky. Not going to lie, that shocked me. I expected Kentucky to win that one.
Honestly, I expected way more from Kentucky, given I was all about them, heading into this week. I thought they looked really good. Pitt, I thought, was struggling a little bit heading into this. I'm sorry. Kentucky's block defense, I was like, what is your game plan here? Olivia Babcock, I think, swung like 1,000, other than like hitting a couple balls out. What is your blocking scheme here? What's your defensive game plan? I turned to Adam partway through the match and I was like, has Kentucky dug any balls this match?
They looked unprepared
to
play. Pitt has become a little one-dimensional.
It's very clear what their plan is. Okay?
You know who you have to stop.
Serve tough, get the middle out of it. The ball's going to Babcock. Okay.
And Babcock is good, but you're big. Brooklyn DeLay is big. You need to be able to get... You're not going to stop Olivia Babcock, but you can't let her score as many points as she did. I was shocked at the outcome of that one. Heavy, with your thoughts on TCU beating Texas A&M 3-2. TCU being ranked 15th, Texas A&M being ranked 8th.
Honestly, I'm liking TCU.
Me too. More than I thought I would.
Yes. Coming into the season, I was like, oh my gosh, they lost Melanie Parra. Like, where are they going from here? They have had some players who were on the bench, coming off the bench last year, step into key roles, and they're doing a really good job. I have been pleasantly surprised with TCU. A&M, Nikki, okay, she's doing her thing, but like their left sides are lacking for me. It was bad.
I see the direction that Texas A&M wants to go. You can watch them play and see there's a style they want, there's a system they're trying to implement. It's not consistent yet, but I can see the vision that Jamie has for the team. I think he's a very good coach. I think they're going to come around. I think they will be good once they figure it out, but I did expect them to beat TCU. They're big.
But honestly, like, I didn't love A&M's left sides last year either.
Yeah, I would say that's where they're lacking. I don't think it's as bad as it showed in that match. I think they will be better than that.
I could talk a lot about TCU and the like intangible things that I'm really liking about them, but like they are the biggest shock for me right now in a good way.
So that leads us into the next thing I wanted to talk about. I was going to ask you, we're 3 weeks in. What have been your biggest surprises? And you can go either positive or negative. I've got 3 positive ones.
Ooh.
Things that caught you off guard or you were unexpected about at this point in the season.
Okay, number 1, TCU. Just talked about it. That's probably my biggest surprise right now, in a good way. A negative surprise for me is Virginia Adriano for Nebraska.
Oh, yeah.
I expected way more from her. I mean, I haven't checked the stats, but like last week I checked her stats and she was hitting .094 on the season. I did not see that coming. You're coming from an Italian A2 environment where the level is pretty good, and you're telling me you can't get it together? We had her on our fantasy team. She's on the bench now.
Yeah.
Okay? She is a negative surprise for me. Kari Spears,
She was on my
I
list.
would say, is a big surprise in a good way. Obviously, she came in very highly touted, lots of hype around her. I wasn't sure, like as a freshman, you're never sure the leap from the high school U19 level to college, but I think she has stepped into her role seamlessly.
Yeah.
So that has been a positive surprise for me. Okay, those are my top 3, the ones that jumped out at me like right away.
So the ones I had, mine were all player specific, not team
okay.
specific. I agree, Spears, pleasantly surprised. She's got 60 kills already on the season on 137 attempts and is hitting 270 with 10 blocks and 31 digs. So those stats, especially for a freshman coming in, pressure-packed situation on a top 5 team, I mean, obviously they're ranked second, really impressive.
Yeah.
Like watching her play, she's a great athlete. The other one for me, and this is both a positive, I think, and a negative, Noemi Glover for Arizona State. I watched her play in the first couple of weeks, and I thought, man, this is an athlete. I really liked the way she was playing, the way she was swinging, her attitude on the court. Technically, I thought she was very good. Unfortunately, she got hurt. I saw her on the bench with crutches, so I don't know how long she's going to be out. But
I don't think she played against Texas, did she?
No, she was out at that point. I think she's going to be very good long-term for them. She had 55 kills on 112 sets and was hitting 339 on the season up until that point. So I think that's a bright spot for Arizona State, and she surprised me. I didn't know who she was coming in, but I really liked the way she plays. And the last one I had is freshman setter Cassie O'Brien for Kentucky. There's a team that has high expectations. They had a very good setter last year. You have a freshman coming in.
Well, and she earned that spot, too. They had a different setter playing.
Yeah, you've got big hitters in Brooke DeLay and Eva Hudson. You've got good middles. Expectations, like I said, are very high for that program. And okay, I want to play a game here. We haven't done that in a while. We've been all business with World Championships and international volleyball, but it's time to lighten things up. I got a few spicy ones for you.
What are we playing?
Pavan's percentages. So I'm going to make a statement.
Ooh, it's been a while, everybody.
I'm going to make a statement, and I want you to give me the percent chance that you think it will happen. Okay? So the first one, and we've talked about this already, but I'm going to add a little flair to it. What is the percent chance that Izzy Stark ends up in Texas next year?
I'm going to go, because nothing is certain, I'm going to go 90%.
Ooh, that's a high number.
Yes. So, I think those Penn State bridges are burned.
I agree.
Floating down that river current. Okay. They are gone.
If you listen to the coach, Katie Schumacher's interview, when asked about Izzy, her response was a little cold, and it was just, we wish her the best. So that seems like it's finished.
Yeah. So don't think she's going back to Penn State. If this also fits Texas's MO of just like scooping up whoever they can, I think Izzy Stark makes them way better.
And I think you told me Izzy Stark's mom played for Texas.
Izzy Stark's mom played for Texas, so there's that connection. I don't think Ella Swindle's the answer, honestly. I don't think she's it. But I think Izzy Stark in the mix, dang.
I think Jared Elliott has mailed a check to Izzy Stark's house with the Texas logo on the envelope. And it's just kind of sitting there saying, hey, whenever you're ready. Okay, we're going to stay on the Texas theme. What do you think the percent chance is that Texas goes undefeated this season leading into the tournament?
25%.
Ooh, I think I would be a little higher than that.
I just think it's so hard this day and age to win out. There are so many good programs. The SEC is a really good conference. We're talking they've got Kentucky, they've got Florida, they've got A&M. They've got like a lot of good programs in that conference. And to the depth of the field is just so much bigger now. I think it would be incredibly impressive if they did pull it off, but I think it's unlikely.
I was going to say 30%. I think those
Oh
two.
my gosh, you were like, oh, 25, that's crazy. Mine's so much higher, 30.
I really liked.
I thought you were going to be like 50.
No. Your points are well made, but I really liked the grit that they showed. They're refusing to lose. And I think when you build that culture, especially with freshmen starting, you don't know any different. Right, you've come in and you expect to win. It doesn't matter, and they beat ranked teams like that. So I think it's tough. Like you said, it's tough to go undefeated. It's tough to be that consistent, especially when you're young and inexperienced. But I think they have a shot to do it because I've liked the grit and the intangibles I saw on the court in this past week. All right, we're gonna keep talking about the portal. What percentage do you think that Kennedy Martin ends up in the portal at the end of this season?
Oh, dear. I would be so mad if I was Kennedy Martin, honestly.
She has to be.
I would be so mad. I think it's low. I think she'll stay. I heard that Penn State picked up a really good setter to replace Izzy Stark, though. So I think she's going to stay. Percent chance she'll enter the portal.
I'm going to say 51.
What?
I think she came to Penn State to win a national championship.
I heard that they picked up a really good setter, though.
But even still,
I mean, it's not Izzy Stark, but
they're not that good right now. And I'm not sure that just replacing Izzy Stark was more than just a setter for them. She was their leader. She was a whole lot of things for that program, and I'm not sure that you can just replace that with a good setter. I don't think they're going to have a particularly great season, and I think Kennedy Martin picked a school where she thought she could win. And if that realization is off the table at the end of the season, I can see her leaving one more time.
dang.
All right, we're going to stick in the NCAA. What is the percent chance that UCLA finishes in the bottom third of the Big Ten?
Well, they went in preseason ranked number 4 in the Big Ten. I think that was generous. I don't think they're going to finish in the bottom third. I think they'll finish in the top half, but definitely not. I don't think they'll finish like top 5 in the Big Ten. But there's 18 teams, top 9. Percent chance that they'll finish in the bottom third, 30%.
Okay.
There's still a chance.
And my last one, we're going to move to international volleyball because I had a couple questions come across the feed, which I thought were interesting. What is the percent chance that Catherine Plummer starts on the right side for the U.S. next summer? I don't hate the idea.
I don't hate the idea, but she's kind of a lumberer, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You look at the world's top right sides and like, yeah, they're big, but they're not like lumbering athletes. I don't think she's built for out of system play.
But they
as a right side.
They don't have anybody who can do that right now. For me, when I actually start thinking about this, I'm like, okay, I want Avery Skinner, Sarah Franklin, and Catherine Plummer on the floor. Like, I think those are your best outsides, depending on who else comes back. I think at this point, because they don't have somebody playing on the right side, I would try it and see how it looks.
Yeah, I think I would try it. Is the percent chance that she'll play there at some point? Or
Yeah,
just
what is the
there?
percent chance you see her on the right side at some point for the U.S. next summer?
Well, I've heard it thrown out that Logan Eggleston should play on the right side. I think it's low. I mean, I don't hate the idea.
I'm
not sure they're going to do it.
I'm bullish on this. I think that they need to find an answer, and I don't think their experiments on the right side went well this year. I think you're going to see I think priority number 1 for them is to find a right side in this next thing, and you're going to see a whole bunch of athletes there. So I'm 60% that she gets to start on the right side.
Okay.
All right, that's the Pavan's percentages.
I like these. We haven't done a game in a while.
Yeah, I gotta keep bringing them back.
NCAA season brings out the games.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about in NCAA that it's easier to kind of do it in this regard and have some fun with it. No more games next week. Maybe we'll bring your dad in next week and we'll play a game with him.
All right, it is time for listener questions. Okay, so question 1. Catherine Plummer, do you think she's overrated or underrated?
I think it's been too long for me, having seen her play, to answer that question. I mean, she was super hyped in college. She was a very good college athlete. I'm not sure how her pro season went in Turkey. She didn't look great at Champions League, but I don't know how she was during the rest of the season. And I'm not sure what the expectations of her are. Is public perception that she's the savior of USA volleyball, what the expectations are? So it's a good question, but I need to see her play in this team.
My feeling is overrated. And I think that's also why, if we go back to her being on the right side, I think that's why I was so hesitant about it, is I don't think I love her as much as a lot of people do. Question 2. Who would you guys say is the best active setter in men's volleyball and why? Also in women's volleyball.
I think I'm going to go with the Italian setters for both men and women. I mean, I know that we hate Oro because she played 2 bad matches with a sprained ankle.
So that obviously means that we think she's terrible.
She's fantastic. She leads that team. I like her decisions. She's good defensively. She's well-rounded in all parts of her game, and her delivery, she knows who to feed. I feel that she understands her teammates really well in terms of who's on, who do I need to get going, do I need to set Scylla here, do I need to run the middles, does Aganu need a few more sets? It's just her whole feel and approach along with her delivery, I think sets her apart on the women's side. I'm not sure it's even close, to be honest, on the women's side.
I mean, for men, I think the discussion usually comes down to Brizard versus Giannelli. I think Brizard, the speed of his offense is impressive. I think he makes spectacular plays, but I would argue that Giannelli is more consistent, and Giannelli's size allows him to do some things offensively that are quite interesting.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to agree with you. Giannelli and Oro.
Do you think that Nikolov has a chance to take that title at some point?
I think an argument could be made for that for sure. I think some of his decision making as to when to take certain offensive risks or set selection. He's young and he has a tendency to want to make the most spectacular set all the time instead of maybe the smarter set. So I think as he matures and understands when to take certain risks versus play it safe, I think he can definitely, there's an argument there for him for sure. Question 3, international men's game. Are the middles getting smaller? It seems like the top middles right now, like Flavio, Kochanovsky, Lozer, are smaller than the ones a few years ago where it seemed like there were 6'11" giants at the highest level. Is this a trend or am I just cherry picking?
Without it being about size, I think it's more about mobility. The speed of the game is becoming faster. So if you have a 6'11" guy or a 7'1" guy who can't close the block, he's a liability.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have, a 6'9" middle or a 6'8" middle who's a little more springy, who can get there and close the block. So now if you have a 7'1" guy who moves that well, you're going to take him. You want that. But I think the focus is a little bit more on ability to move laterally so you can make those decisions and be a little quicker than just having sheer size in the middle.
To answer your question, I think maybe you're cherry picking because just off the top of my head, I'm thinking of Crick from Germany. Pretty sure he's 7 feet tall. You've got Simon from Cuba, who's 6'10", I believe, 6'11", close to that. You've got the Slovenian middle, 7 feet. Like, that's just like off the top of my head.
I think the Polish middles are quite big.
Those 3 right there. Yeah. And then the Russian middles, we haven't seen Russia for a while, but their middles were also close to 7 feet as well. So there's a mix, I would say, for sure.
And all of those middles you mentioned are very good laterally. Like they move well. They don't move like a traditional quote unquote, and I hate saying this, but 7-foot middle.
Yeah. All right. Question 4. As a non-volleyball player and just relatively clueless, I'm a passionate fan of the sport. It's hard for me to identify good setters as opposed to identifying good hitters. A lot of people talk about Alessia Oro as a very good setter. So how do you identify that? Like, what should I, as a viewer, look out for to identify her skills? What sets her apart from other setters? And is there even a bad setter at the top level? This is a great question.
I have kind of a flippant answer, and then I have maybe a little more technical answer.
Okay.
So my flippant answer is it's just pretty to watch. Like
Which is not the answer you're looking for.
No, but you watch some setters come out and just the way the ball comes out of their hand, the way it moves, the way they flick the wrist, the way they come into the ball, it's smooth, it's controlled, it's poetry. It's not a great answer, but for somebody who doesn't understand the sport, that smoothness and I think watching the delivery of the hands is one way to kind of pick it out.
I think because volleyball is typically shown on TV from the side view, you can often see when the ball leaves the setter's hand, you can see if it like takes a path towards the net, if it stays straight, you can see if it flares backwards off the net. A good indicator on a setter's consistency is also to watch the hitter and watch their rhythm. If you see a hitter kind of have to jump backwards or they're floating towards the net and having to try to fix the ball by tipping or jousting at the net, that is a sign of inconsistency. If a hitter looks in rhythm, their approach is smooth, and they're able to make whatever choices they want, the ball is where they expect it. You can also look at the other side of the net and see how many blockers are in front of a hitter. So blockers are often watching the setter and reading their body and stuff to make decisions of where to go. So if you're seeing a hitter hit against one blocker or 1.5 blocks, the setter's doing a really good job of being deceptive. And if you're seeing a hitter constantly hitting in front of a solid double or even a triple block, maybe a little more obvious. Obviously, passing has something to do with that, but those are some things that you can kind of look at: the hitter's body and the flow into the ball to hit it and how many blocks they're hitting in front of.
I mean, when you ask about bad setters, if you're setting for a national team that is competitive, you don't have bad setters necessarily. But again, there's degrees of how good you are. You can look at decision making, you can look at consistency of out of system setting, or how do you deliver balls off the net. Things like that will separate, good from great at that level.
Our last question of the day. What are your thoughts on Brazil using Gabi on a 3-2 combo? Do you think more women's teams should try to run it? I love when they do it, but I think the reason it's so effective is the timing.
Yes.
Teams are aware that Brazil has this play in their arsenal, but they don't use it. They use it maybe once a set. And it's usually like towards the late middle, around like 18, 19 points that they bring it out. So like even though a team is prepared, you're going through this whole set and they're not using it. So they like lull you to sleep. You know what I mean? And then just when you've kind of forgotten about it, that's when they run it.
I also think you need the athlete to do it. Gabi's step closes really well, and she's super dynamic. So she can kind of float out like she's going to go outside and then close to that ball pretty quickly. And it's not so obvious.
And she's very athletic and very dynamic, so she's able to hide that better. I think Japan could use those plays way more than they do with the athletes and the personnel that they have. I think a team like Turkiye, for example, it would not be effective.
Not so much.
Their athletes are bigger. The way they move is not the same. Certain teams could make use of it, and Japan is the one that kind of comes to mind for me. We moved through those questions fast today, you guys. Okay, we made sure to hit a couple in the World Champs discussion. These are good.
Love the questions.
These are great. Keep them coming. I know I say it every week, but, I mean it.
All right. Here are the highlights for the week.
Can I just step in and be like, I think I was out to lunch last week because all the games that I said that you should watch last week were actually the ones for this week. So sorry about that.
Sleep-deprived baby brain.
Don't know what I was out to lunch. Anyway, continue.
So looking forward to this week, here's what we think you guys should be watching. So if we look at the Men's World Championships, Wednesday at 2 a.m. Eastern, you can watch it on FIVB TV at a later date of your choosing. But Canada versus Turkiye, that's going to be for who comes out of that pool, potentially. So I think that game has a lot of ramifications, and I think the skill could be pretty close, and consistency will be a question there. So that'll be a good one to watch. Wednesday at 5:30 a.m. Eastern, so a little later, you might be awake. But USA versus Cuba. USA versus Cuba, again, that's going to be probably for first in the pool. And as I've predicted, I think Cuba's going to come out with a little swagger. So I'm looking forward to seeing that one personally. And then another great one, Thursday at 6 a.m. Eastern, is going to be France and Argentina. That will be for first in the pool, most likely.
Probably.
Our NCAA schedule, and this is the one that
Just
Sarah
listen to
mentioned
last
last week.
episode.
But we got Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, Pitt and Penn State. Both programs who are Penn State more than Pitt, but trying to right the ship. So that'll be a good game. Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, Texas versus TCU. TCU's playing well right now. You know, as you said, Texas has a few young athletes, so we'll see if they can keep that consistency going. Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern, Kentucky and Louisville. That might be my pick of the week overall. I think that's going to be a great match. Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern, we've got Florida and Wisconsin. And then Sunday at 6 p.m., we've got Kansas versus Creighton.
Bottom line is there's a ton of great volleyball to watch. You cannot go wrong. So those are just our top 10 almost picks. That concludes this week's episode of Volley Talk. There's always something shaking in the volleyball world, and we hope you enjoyed this little fix. Be sure to follow the show so you don't miss any updates, and we'd be so grateful if you'd leave us a 5-star review. You can also find us on Instagram at volleytalk_podcast. If you have a topic you'd like us to discuss, be sure to reach out to us on Instagram or at info@sarahpavan.com. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll be back next week.